I just finished a 5 days course, anatomy course with Julian Baker here with me, and I'm really blown away by understanding or looking into the body, and I feel that I know nothing after these 5 days. So it's really, I'm also amazed by Julian's knowledge and understanding and guiding all this process of dissectomy and guiding all the students so how are you?
I'm looking forward to my beer now. You know, suddenly the sunshine's come out. It's been raining all week, and Poland got knocked out of the World Cup, so I'm pleased to be here. Cheers. It's been a really nice week, lovely week, and I've really enjoyed it. I always enjoy. For me, it's not just watching the process or being involved in the process of dissection. It's also seeing how the group change. You know, how the people start off and they're shocked when this. You know, you were shocked at the beginning of the week. It was quite a shock to start this process. It's a big step into what is quite a taboo area. We don't really look into bodies. You know, we don't really do that. So to explore the inner workings of the human is a special thing to do.
Yeah, it was shocking. Like first day, I remember when I came into the room and we opened the cadavers. I was feeling like nausea and shock and panic, and I was feeling even like, will I be able to do it? But there was the curiosity about understanding the body and looking more into it, won against that anxiety.
Yeah,
so,
it overcomes it. And I like to think that we bring you in, we try and be gentle with you, and the idea isn't to shock you, the idea isn't to make you scared or frightened, the idea is to hold your hand and to just lead you into it very gently and carefully, and with respect for you as well as respect for the cadaver. You know, it's not just like get on with it. We want to help you. To build your confidence and your understanding of what's inside. This teacher and these teachers were amazing this week, and they were really powerful teachers. And but you haven't done a dissection before, have you?
No, I haven't done. But also, what struck me in these 5 days that, you know, the looking into complexity of everything, and I particularly really like the way you're teaching it, you're guiding it, because you are asking questions, and you're giving a space to really start like checking inside of me. So I'm living in a way in a space of starting questioning my way of working. I do myofascial release, craniosacral, and there is many things that I have been doing that I'm not sure if they were, you know, right, or if they were really helping people. And so it's really great way to check, okay, was it right, or what is wrong, and you give that space to reflect what is the right way of working with people, you know.
And it's I think the thing is also is that I'm not here to make a judgment on what you do or what you don't do or what's good or bad. You know, the position that I'm coming from is that as therapists we put our hands on people and we do the thing that we do, but there's a story that goes with that, and sometimes the story is a little bit off track, if you like. It's not quite accurate in terms of what we are trying to put across. And so I'm asking people to examine what their belief is and what their stories are about, and to maybe to sort of tighten up their story a little bit, get a little more confident about their story. You know, we talked about the psoas and the idea that you can put your hands on the psoas and somehow release the psoas.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what release means, and I don't think you can touch the psoas. So, but that's not to say that you're not doing something. And the question is, well, what are we doing if we're not doing that? So I think there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stories that people tell around the work that they do and the words that they use. And my desire is to sort of try and tighten up that, as I said, to try and tighten up that and say, well, you know, what is it you think you're doing when? Also, the other thing is that the way that we understand the body, the pictures that we learn from in our anatomy books, is not the way that the body is. You know, this is the thing, is people come and expect the body to look like it does in the books, and of course it doesn't, and that's a big shock as well. And so people who think their anatomy is quite good come into this experience, and then they go, well, it's not what I expected. It's not prepared. It's not trimmed away. It's not all those things. There's not the labels and different colours that we have. So that's confusing. But it's a real privilege for me to be in a room full of people who are inquiring and who are open to learn and to change, and then also to be in the presence of the human form from the donors that have given us this permission, this opportunity to explore their bodies in such an incredible way.
So what I noticed in the last 5 days, that one of your superpowers is anatomy, but not the book anatomy, but like anatomy that really it's a practical, it's functional, it's something that you touch, see and understand with your own experience. But you also do Bowen therapy, and you're a practitioner. So if you could tell like how that understanding of the body and Bowen therapy and in general therapy with people, how would you put it in, like what really works, what is the right way?
Yeah, and that's a good question. I wish I knew. So a couple of things. Firstly, my superpower is the ability to sleep. I can lie down and sleep. That's my superpower. As far as anatomy or biology is concerned, thank you, by the way, it's a nice compliment, but I'm scratching the surface of my knowledge of anatomy and biology, and I don't pretend to be an anatomist or a biologist in any way, shape or form, but I have the grasp, the rudiments, if you like, of some of the functions, and I'm always learning and studying and trying to improve myself in that respect. But what I've learned and what's driven my desire to continue this is to try and understand the mechanics, the mechanisms of what happens when we put our hands on people and what changes, and that's what drove me originally, because I was studying the Bowen technique, and there were a lot of stories that were talked about it. The people that taught it originally they just made stuff up, and it wasn't true at all. And so we inherited, like a lot of people have inherited, this sort of made-up idea of what we're doing, and using lots of words like energetic release or fascial release or what have you. And so my drive was to say, well, what are we doing? What's happening? And what's the best way of treating people? And I can't say that I profess to know, but I do feel that the power of touch is vitally important. We don't touch or get touched enough in our society, and the touch is massively healing and massively powerful, and not just energetically but from a biomechanical perspective and from a biological perspective. So many of our systems thrive and get driven when we are touched. The ability for the immune system to be improved by touch, the ability for infection rates to fall when we're touched is enormously potent. So the act of touching is in itself a healing process. As children we were hugged and cuddled and comforted when we hurt ourselves, and we don't get that anymore. Who comforts us if we're hurt, or physically or emotionally? So it's a powerful thing. And then there are mechanisms. There are things like interoception. There are parts of the brain that respond well to touch. So light touch, doing less, giving the body the ability to fix itself. When we've gone and done a course, we do a course and we get our certificate and we put that on our wall, and then we give people the thing that is on our wall, our osteopathy or massage or Bowen. And so people come to us and they get given that thing, and we fix them. And I'm not a great believer in fixing people. What I'm a great believer in is opening the door and trying to facilitate the process of somebody finding a way to fix themselves. And I think if we do that, if we give the body the choice as to whether it wants to do that or not, then a lot of the time it will choose that it wants to move out of pain or move into a better function. It's pretty simple. So do less, take your hands off, go and have a cup of tea, and stop trying to make it happen. Because nothing really happens in a session, in the actual session, when we say we've had a release and we've had a change. Nothing's really happened in that session. It takes time for changes to take place. You know, if I go to the gym this afternoon, nothing's really happened in the space of 45 minutes of me being in the gym. You know, I've got to do it over and over again, and I've got to do it for 6 months before I'm going to start to notice changes.
Right.
And we tend to be in a bit of a hurry for certain things. All these mechanisms, pain, stiffness, soreness, these are all mechanisms that can change fairly quickly, but they come from the perspective of understanding that it's the body that's doing it itself, not us as therapists. And if we just change that dynamic a little bit, then we have a better chance of having something that is long-lasting. You know? Be the change that you want to be. You know, is that the phrase? No, it's not the phrase. Or see the change. No, anyway. Be the change that you want. I can't remember. So it's the end of a long week. I'm drinking beer.
Because one other things that I realized in these few days, that how miraculous body is. You know, seeing all the organs and muscles and fascia, and how this is all put together in a magical way. It gives me that sense of, wow, we are really this is a temple, and taking care of it, and
yeah, really, I mean, you use the words miracle and magical and temple, and it is, but it's a dynamic process, and it's mimicked in the world around us. You know, there's ants crawling around over there, and they're a miracle. You know, the whole thing, when you think how things work together, is quite phenomenal. So I'm wary about using words like magical or miracle. You know, there are systems in place. And they work because we look after them, and they don't work because we don't look after them. You know, and it's like any environment. You know, if you look after your environment will be a good environment. It will continue to work for you. And if you pour crap into it, then you know you're going to get a crappy environment. Whether it's a body or a planet, it doesn't make any difference. And we have a potential regeneration. But at the end of the day, you know, our system will fail us. You know, our system, we are here for a finite period of time. It doesn't matter what we do, we're going to die. So sometimes there is this idea that we're going to live forever. We live our lives as if we're going to live forever, and we're not going to live forever. You know, and we will get old, we will get sick, and we will die. So I'm not meaning to be like put a downer on this conversation, because I think that's something to celebrate. You know, and to not find it a surprise when it happens. So some of the cadavers we saw this week, there was a lot of disease mechanisms in them. And you may say that we don't know the story about those. It may be that they've, you know, smoked cigarettes or drunk, or it may be that they've worked hard all their lives and cleared asbestos to, you know, to put food on the table for their children. So I don't know. We can be ideological about it, but ultimately it's a fascinating system, and the idea of us being healthy, health isn't about, for me, health isn't about lack of disease. Health is about maintaining a functional balance that allows us to repair, not necessarily even to the way we were before, but to a level that we can still maintain our function. You know, as we get older, our functions decrease, and our ability to continue to function the same way. You know, and I don't function the same way I did when I was 25. And in 70 years, 50 years time, or 25 years time, I won't function the same way that I do now. But I may still be healthy within the function that I need to be. So we have to be patient and accept our change, and accept the fact that we have a finite point in time of our life, and just try and be happy. But so this week we had fun. This was the thing, is that this is part of it, is that we take things too seriously. We disappear up our own backsides, and I said at the beginning of the week, what I want to do is I want to enjoy myself and have some fun.
That's your another superpower, that you are you are making light, you're making learning light, because you're bringing sense of humor, jokes, and it's fun. It's fun to watch you teaching, and because it can be heavy, it can be heavy.
Sure.
So by that lightness and sense of humor, you unload that heaviness that carries on the teaching, and I really appreciate that.
I think simplicity for me, if I don't understand, if I can't explain something simply, the people go, well, it's fairly straightforward. If I can't explain how a kidney works or a heart works in a simple way, then I don't understand it myself. So you feel a lot of people will take a huge, massive degree of complexity about the way they explain things. And I'm not sure that you need that, because generally there's a simple way to explain everything. And at the same time, I don't take myself too seriously, because what do I know? So if I don't take myself too seriously, I don't expect anybody else to take me too seriously. So I don't expect them to take themselves too seriously either. Because
right.
If I can't spend, my aim in any teaching scenario, my aim in whatever I'm doing, whether it's teaching or sitting down for breakfast, is for me to enjoy myself, because that's, if I'm honest, that's what we all want to do. We all want to have a good time. And so I just state that out loud. I'm going to have a good time here, and I hope you come along for the ride as well.
Great journey. So if you want to learn like really anatomy, then I would really recommend you Julian's courses, whatever he's teaching, because you will learn really a lot, and gives you great understanding.
So, and I just a plug, because we're doing this for my classes. I run classes in Scotland and around the world, really, and so I hope you'll put my website up on your functionalfascia.com.
Functionalfascia.com. I will do that.
It's a self-promotion here.
Yes.
Functionalfascia.com. So.
I'll be happily promoting that.
Anyway, Nisarga, it's been a great pleasure
seeing
you this week, and seeing how you've opened up, and how much how much you've engaged with the process. It's been a privilege to have you in the same room.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Safe trip home.
Bye bye.